Welcome to another Triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
We are back with another Triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. And we're so excited, as always, to chat about everything going on in the triathlon world. And something very cool coming up. We are approaching our 50th episode. Stay tuned for that one. I can't believe it has already been over a year of talking triathlon every week with my awesome co-hosts, Josh and Fede. And we can't wait for a few years more and hitting that 100 mark. But I am joined today by Josh. Hopefully Fede may join us at some point here. But Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It is crazy that we've already got 49 episodes here, and our 50th episode, we've got a special guest for everyone. So enjoy that. And it's been quite the ride. And I feel like we're all learning new stuff every week. And there's so much more that keeps coming up, and got to learn it. So we appreciate everyone who is tuning in and listening, and the feedback we've gotten. And it's been pretty awesome for me being the newbie in this whole thing and being able to be part of it and growing within the sport, and had probably one of my best swims ever this evening in my brand new Mana Apparel DeBoer swimsuit. So had to get that thing loosened up for my my next 70.3 this weekend at Ironman 70.3 Western Mass. So got my first of two swims in the wetsuit loosened up, and had probably my best 100 times, and it's fast for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely helps the people like us who need a little extra help. And I got in, and it was like you jump in and you try and get a little sink down to the bottom and stay down the bottom a little bit, get the breath going, and I couldn't even do it. Like it just started raising me up. It's like, oh, this is gonna be a good swim.
Love it.
It was great, and I had a kind of a day off yesterday. I got to be I get to pretend I was Fede and went and golfed, and had a great golfing after a half marathon on Sunday, and a ride with Christian Vandevelde at Peloton, which was amazing. So just a really cool packed week. Had an awesome training week the week before, staying healthy, and went out and did a half marathon with no intentions of setting PRs, and left the phone at home, and just kind of went out and enjoyed the scenery and the race, and had a specific pace that I was supposed to stay at, but it was more heart rate based than anything, and not pushing it. And we had, I was able to run about 15, 16 seconds faster than what we had planned and keep the heart rate where it was supposed to be. So really cool day, and great finish at the Athletic Brewing Fairfield Half Marathon. There was some really fast runners. I think the winner was like 107.
That's awesome.
Some good hill training for Springfield too, because there's about 600-700 feet of elevation in Western Mass on the run course. So get some good training there. There were some decent hills on this course, and able to work on my breathing and staying relaxed. And it was just a fun weekend. And then got to ride with Christian Vandevelde. Man, that was next level in Peloton Studios, not out on the road, but his training, his method. And if you've listened, you know we've had Matt Wilpers on. And what he thinks of Christian and that crew. It was a really cool experience to be a part of. So we popped down to New York City and back that night on Sunday, and worth every minute and every penny.
That is very cool to hear. It sounds like it was a lot of fun and quite the variety. Now, is your golf game closer to Fede's ability level or mine?
No. Yesterday it was definitely closer to Fede's. I don't nearly get to play as much as he does. If I can get out more than once a year, it's a good year. As triathletes, I was talking to the guys I was playing with. There was a bunch of coworkers, and it was a fundraiser for Melanoma Foundation, and I was there with two other groups from our company who were a big sponsor of the event, and it was just fun to go out and kind of have no I guess, expectations of myself other than to try and hit some good balls. And next thing you know, you're hitting a lot of good balls. But we were playing as a team, so it also helps relax you. You're not going for your own individual score too. So I had a much better day than I thought I was going to have. And the guys were all like, wow, if you could actually play this more, you'd actually be pretty good, but divorced.
Yeah.
There's no way you can have triathlon and golf. I don't know how Fetty does it.
No, that does not work with the family. You cannot do both.
Absolutely not. And I am happy with the balance that I have right now. Grab a round of golf once or twice a year, and that's good for me.
How are you feeling going into the 70.3?
I'm excited. It's bubble wrap week and try and just stay healthy. And I had dropped my bike off before I went down to Connecticut for the race this weekend and got that back from my buddy Roy, all tuned up, got a new chain on, and put the bars out another 2 centimeters. Just based off of my last long ride outside, I just felt a little cramped up, and probably in the transitions back and forth from Oceanside, the bars didn't get back to where they were meant to be. So tightened those up, moved them out a little bit. Felt great riding it around after I picked it up, and got a few other little nooks and crannies figured out and dialed in. And I'm ready to go on the bike, ready to go on the swim and the run. Just that's the confidence level on the run to be able to push faster than I have both times out in Oceanside. I know I can run faster. So that's come along, and really, it's just as long as the water temp stays below 77. And but I think today I saw 73.9 and trending up. It's supposed to be a little warmer the next couple of days, but then starting to cool off a little bit and get a couple inches of rain too, which will help raise the river and bring the current up a little bit too. So I'm ready to go. I just excited to do this whole course. Last year I did just the bike, so I'm familiar with most of the bike course. They did change it a little bit, actually for the better. And there's some good climbing, and I know I can climb and handle Oceanside. So this is about that. And then the run's in the shade. So it's just a matter of fueling correctly and going. And I got a big order of all my fuel on its way, and I'll be restocked and out to Western Mass Saturday and get my check-in, drop my bike off, and then back. Same thing I did last year, back for my daughter's dance recital, and then back to Springfield that night. So an hour and a half, a couple times out and back. And I just feel good, healthy, and I'm totally blessed to be able to race again in good condition. So psyched for that.
That's the biggest thing. Just feeling good, getting to the start line healthy, mentally fresh, and ready just to see what you can do. That's the best part.
And we got a few Mana teammates out there too, so it'll be cool to be with some teammates in the new kits. And I finally get to wear my kit and the wetsuit, and I'm going to be all decked out for this weekend, ready to go fast. So
won't be able to miss yet. If you look good, you feel good, and you go fast.
And there's no passing zone, so I don't have to worry about that DQ. Or we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So how about you? I've seen some longer rides and you getting a little bit more dialed in on the bike and your new kit and all that. So how's that going? That was a heck of a transition story you put up, or reel you put up on that new kit.
Oh yeah, I had some fun with that. Yeah, got the on the Mana Elite team this year, so I got a speedy kit going in. And kind of the really cool thing with the Mana kit was I was able to decide which fabrics and basically textures I wanted for the lower body and the upper body when we went to Texas to do that aero testing with Fenella Langridge and Jason Pohl. I got a chance to test out all the different variations that were out there. So it was really fun to be able to entirely dial in the fabrics and fit to what worked best for me. So that was kind of cool. It was fun to finally get to try it on. And oh my God, the fabric on the legs is so thin but fast. It's a really nice combination. Running feels so good in this, and without the leg squish at the bottom, it just fits so well. So I'm so excited to actually try it out in a race, and I've got a duathlon coming up in 2 weeks. I'm actually going to do some racing, so that'll be good.
That's amazing. You're going to be so amped up on that day because you've done you did that 10K, right? And it's been a while for you to do a duathlon, triathlon type thing, and you're going to be so amped up. We're going to have to slow you down that morning. Have a little meditation before.
Yeah, although I had a bit of a different transition this weekend.
Yeah, you did.
To little different things. If the audience doesn't know, I do some like acting and modeling on the side just for fun. I've mentioned a few things in there, but I was hired on to do a fashion show, like walk down the catwalk, which I found out at the event that my agency pushed me as a very experienced model, which I'm very experienced, but I have never done a fashion show or walked down a runway because typically you have to be 5'8" and I'm 5'6", so I've just never been booked for one. So show up and they're like, yeah, no, they told us you are really experienced, so can you choreograph what the walk will be and what the poses will be and teach it to the other models and teach them how to do this because they've never done a runway before. So I'm like, yeah, totally. I just went fake it till you make it mode. It's like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Unbelievable.
It was so funny, but you know what? It was a little intimidating at first. It was like a sold out show, just packed in there. But luckily, it turns out a lot of the tickets came with bottomless mimosas. So the crowd was super enthusiastic and amped up.
I was getting amped up at the end.
They were just hooting, hollering, and cheering us on. It's like, okay, cool. This is easy. So it ended up being a lot of fun, something a little bit different. And then ended up spending the morning in heels. So I had to send an email to my coach. I'm like, I'm switching the really hard workout to tomorrow because I don't do heels. My calves were just like aching. And I'm like, oh, I need to do this more for strength training just for running on there. But yeah, it was fun to mix it up a little bit. Definitely some achy calves going into the next day, but was excited and amped up and a little fresher to go into a brutally hard run bike workout and just mentally fresh to get after it. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, what was that workout that you did? It was like multiple back and forth, right?
It's been a lot of on the weekends, kind of either bike, run, or run, bike, just going back and forth in there. And the intensities are getting faster and faster. So definitely have realized that I'm not going to be running the times of the other competitors in there. I can hold those for about a kilometer, maybe. So it'll be all about getting the bike dialed in for me. And that's what I've been having a lot of fun doing aero testing with this Ghibli aero sensor and seeing some massive gains there, even for 40K, like just slight equipment and position changes have been making big differences in the CDA and aerodynamics. And it was kind of funny. I got my bike to the point where it is in the fastest possible position. And then I went to my bike fitter and I'm like, how dumb is this position or not? Is this...
You're telling the bike fitter where you need to be. I mean, it's not the point of a bike fit. But...
Oh, man. It's so funny. He knows me well enough at this point. We push the boundaries a lot, we'll say. Because he uses a retool bike fit position, but my numbers are never really within range, but enough experience kind of testing out, seeing what works and what doesn't work. But yeah, so we determined it is borderline. It's either going to be a great idea or terrible. A few more rides will determine it because the biggest, like my reach is pretty far forward. My seat height is high, but all of those work with what I've done before and like feel really good. The one thing that could be stupid or not is I've got my front end like slammed down where 2 centimeters higher looks really good. It is in a good range, but 2 centimeters lower is about a minute faster over 40K. So it's...
Now, could you hold that for a full Ironman? That would be questionable.
Totally different bike fit than a full Ironman for sure. Yeah. This is definitely keeping in mind that it's 40K.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing to, remind people too, like that you can have a different fit for the race distances for sure, especially the Ironman distance. But even between a 70.3 and a sprint, there might be some changes you might want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I got absolutely slammed on this time trial Facebook group in there. showing like some changes.
Those tips are brutal.
Well, it's so funny because I posted my position on the Hanzo and like just got everyone loved it. It looks amazing. It looks incredible. I was at the same numbers on the Argon before I slammed it lower, and they're just like, "No, that's terrible. It's awful. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to hurt yourself." I'm like, "This is exactly the position I've been racing on for an Ironman." But so, yeah, those are always interesting. But yeah, going super aggressive. Going to do a few. Hopefully, get out for a few rides outside, test it out at this duathlon in a couple weeks, and see if things start to hurt and ache. Then raise it up a little bit higher, no worse for wear, and just pay attention to those things. But it's been, yeah, so much fun just to play around and see what is fast and what the difference actually is. So.
And it's like you can actually get outside and do all these things too now that the weather's finally changed. You might get another day of snow or hopefully not.
I mean, it's not off out of the realm of possibility.
No.
It's funny. Some of my Aussie friends always harass me because I wear socks on the bike doing races. But like even in the peak of summer, it could be 2-3 degrees Celsius. So like high 30s after you get out of the swim. And it's like, yeah, no, you need socks or else you won't have any toes left at the end.
And then, I mean, but once you train in them all the time like that too, you'd probably want to keep them on race day because even your shoes are fit. You know how tight to make your shoes and things like that, I guess, would all add up over that distance, especially too. You don't want to start having your toes go numb and feet go numb because you've tightened them too hard or something because you're barefoot. But I did Oceanside barefoot. I'll probably do this one bare. And I will, I think, so my sprint I did without socks on the run, but that's a sprint. I mean, a 5K, I'll stay with the run, but for a half marathon, I'll put socks on for the run. I'll bike barefoot and just I'll have the monocalf sleeves on for the swim underneath and just leave those on for the bike and let them air dry. And same thing with the kit. It's amazing to me that Emma Pallant-Brown still wears like the old school swimsuit and goes out there and dominates. It's unbelievable.
Well, and especially now that we know how much aero benefit there is, like these tech fabrics are faster than skin, 100%. And actually, we'll go more into that with my What the F of the week and talking about some interesting results there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, speaking of results, how about we jump into a couple things that went on this weekend? We were kind of chatting, and we're going to keep most of the results to the big series because we have so much racing going on these days. The T100 series, the Ironman Pro series, and then WTCS. And we'll have a couple of special mentions here and there, but we'll kind of keep it dialed in there because, as you know, we can get talking about things and go on forever. So if we talked about all the races, it could be a little while in there. But we had an interesting race go on this weekend where everything and anything happened, it seems like, at Ironman Hamburg, a women's only race in the Ironman Pro Series. Didn't get a chance to watch too much of this and just kind of catching up, but Josh, do you want to give us an idea of what happened out there and the chaos that ensued?
Well, I mean, it was certainly a pretty stacked field, and I think the consensus was that it was probably a Kat Matthews race to take home and get her second win at the full distance. And it's like, okay, well, if you can book 2 wins at a full Ironman in the Pro Series, well, there's 10,000 points. Mm-hmm. Now she's set up to go do Nice as her third, maybe drop into a couple 70.3s and she's right there for the season series. And she was all lined up to do that, had a mechanical with her aero bottle on the bike, and it looks like a couple screws came loose. So it sounds like Mark's taking the blame for that one. But she was able to get back. But Fenella out of the water in the lead pack, as usual, had a great swim. And she led pretty much most of the bike and into the run. And as we've seen in a couple of her races recently, Fenella's had a tough go on the run, whereas other people are just having better runs. And she hasn't been able to hold leads or hold her position. So she ended up dropping back to 4th, but now leads the Pro Series overall. And continuing another amazing, I guess you want a little bit of a comeback season. Jackie Herring, after a great showing in St. George, doing her first full distance Ironman in 9 years, 36 years old, and runs right to the front and holds off Maja Nielsen coming hard at the end, and sets a U.S. Record for full distance Ironman with an 8:19:14. I mean, just unbelievable day. And in between all that, we had some issues with Els Visser on the bike. She got clipped at a turnaround, and then she got flatted coming into T2 and rode a flat into the transition, and still finished in the top 5. So again, what a season Els is having. I mean, she's raced a ton and continues
I feel like she's on like every other race start list.
I think that was her 7th or 8th race this year.
In June. Jeez.
Because I mean, she started in January. Like her and Chelsea were over in like Australia and New Zealand racing early on, and have been racing. So, but overall in the season series, we got Fenella moving up from 5th to 1st. Jackie moved from 8th up to 2nd overall. Danielle Lewis now back down to 3rd, and Maja Nielsen up to 4th, and Emma in 5th. Alice Albert's holding on to 7th, and Kat unfortunately had an incident later on in the bike as she was catching up after the aero bottle issue, and just kind of had a brain fart, I think is what she called it, and had a pass attempt in a no passing zone, and unfortunately was DQ'd with the red card. And so no points for Kat. So she's still sitting at 5,000 points from her win in Texas, and doesn't get anything for showing up and looking strong and looking like she was on her way to another win. But she had a good attitude afterwards, and we'll talk about that a little bit more too. But it's Germany and Hamburg can't get away from any of these craziness. They changed up the bike course to hopefully have a better race, and sure enough,
super race.
Still had some issues, but thankfully nothing as bad as last year. And but what a great race for Jackie Herring, and kudos to her, just continuing to plug along. And this is the cool part about the series too, right? Because I mean, now you can start to talk about like, and I hope Ironman does do this, where they, during the broadcast, they find a way to say, hey, look, if so-and-so moves up to 2nd or 3rd, or they hold on to 1st, this is what our new standings will be. And maybe have that type of a live standings during a race as you get to the run, or even on the bike, late in the bike, saying this is the impact of what this race means for the season series, because that's what it's all about now. I mean, yeah, these individual races are cool to win, and they look good for sponsors and things like that, but they're now after the season series and the championship of the world overall. So I hope now that we've had some people do 2 Ironmans, that we'll start to see some more of that as well.
Yeah, and they do that in the Tour de France too, where it's like on the road standings kind of thing. So if the race were to end right now, this position, then you know this person will be at XYZ position in the tour or whatever race series going on there. So it would be very cool to see that. I like how they have the countdown of points at the end once the first person crosses the line. Down from 5,000. That's awesome and brutal. But yeah, I love that idea. Getting some on the road standings during the event. Give the commentator something to talk about. Like, I'm shocked they don't have someone on the side like Torsten, or someone just giving them stats and updates of things going on, because sometimes they seem very shocked by the people who are on course or don't know anything about them or what's happening in the series. And it's like, you know, you should have them, like, have people feeding them these stats and information. That would make it so much more interesting, give them something a little different to talk about too, which would be a lot of fun.
And it's not like these are unknown people. There's not that many in the pro field that you can't do a little bit of research to figure this stuff out. I mean, we did have a couple people come from back of the pro series, but when you do well in a full distance Ironman, you're going to move up in the standings. Elisabetta Corridori and Julie Lamolo both moved up into the top 10, and they were nowhere near being in the picture before that. But you're going to have that early on in the season. But now we're almost halfway through, and we got some big races coming up. So having those backstories and things like that to fill over 8 hours, 9 hours of racing, with a lot of commercials and
A lot of commercials. Oh my God.
understandably, because talking for 8 or 9 hours is not easy. And it's not like the Tour de France where you can just throw up a whole bunch of helicopters and things like that. But it's there's more that can be done. And I think if we're going to try and grab an audience of a sports fan and not just a triathlon super fan, you've got to start telling those stories a little bit more and having people drawn into it.
Yeah, and just getting more information about the actual movements. Half the time, the exciting part about the race is not what's happening first, following the person in first place. Right. It's things like Sam Long charging from the back, like seems like he's totally out of the race and coming through. Both T100 and Ironman could definitely do a better job of that, telling those stories and keeping an eye out on key players a little bit more too, because that's the fun stuff. The passes, the position changes, not just watching someone off the front, which is often the case in Ironman racing, especially. But those minor placings can have some interesting battles too.
And even if they can't, I mean, we know the production of it and the camera aspect of it on the bike course especially is not the easiest to handle and manage. But they still have the tracker, and we've all talked about how the tracker needs to be better and not just
out there.
I mean, I can understand age groupers and having their friends and families watch, but when you're talking about a pro field, the tracking should be a little better. And we do have the technology to do it, especially with all of these Pro Series races, including Race Ranger and things like that. Hopefully it gets better, but you can start to tell those stories as they move up in the back, even if you don't have a camera crew on them, and still have the camera on the female pro race. And you're talking about the male pro. I mean, as long as we can talk about the data, that's what I am hoping for.
See what's happening. Yeah, that'd be awesome. A couple other little special mentions of races. We won't dive too much into them, but we saw a great race from Javier Gomez. He is getting his season underway finally. And you know what? He went out to challenge Vitoria and took the win there, which was so good to see. And he's going to be backing it up right away over in the T100 in San Francisco at Alcatraz. So it's good to see he's back on track there. And curious to see what he can do kind of against the top names, because let's be honest, a lot of these other races don't quite have the depth of field. So I'll be really curious to see where he's at against some of the top names now, because it's been a long time since we've seen him, race some of the best.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. And we know we've been waiting for his debut in the T100. So really, really cool to see him have a day. I mean, not the biggest field out there, but he got to a start line and he got to the finish line first. So we'll see what he can do in San Francisco.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another special mention, usually we wouldn't mention this, but it could have some interesting implications for the Olympic selection, is there was a race over in Poland where they had Sam Dickinson and Johnny Brownlee going basically head to head. I believe the idea was to give the British Olympic selectors a little bit better idea of everyone's form going to the event, because they're going to have to choose someone to join Alex E in Paris. And Sam Dickinson took out Johnny Brownlee to take that win. So it definitely makes things a lot more interesting for the selectors in Britain. I'm really curious to see how they go. Like, really, is Sam Dickinson going to win a medal? Probably not. Is Johnny Brownlee going to win an individual? Probably not. But when it comes to the relay, Johnny's got that experience of going to these big games and having big results at some of the biggest games. So I think being able to handle that Olympic pressure is definitely a good thing. But do they go the other way and give Sam Dickinson the shot at that? What do you think, Josh?
I mean, I think it's similar to what the U.S. is dealing with, the experience versus the opportunity versus somebody who might help the relay. And it's not an easy call. And there's a lot of posts and polls and all that about, like, is this something that we should leave to the rankings? Should we leave it to discretion? And it's across the board. It's not just the U.S. It's not just the Brits. But it is interesting to see when you talk the name Brownlee. I mean, it just pulls a lot of weight, and it's hard to say no to, but we shall see. I guess in the next week or two, we'll find out what the Olympics are going to look like and who's going to be battling it out. And like you said, these guys and girls are not all in it for the individual medals, but they can impact a team sport on the relay. And that's a big decision that the governing bodies have to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so curious. The big names, we're still waiting to see the big federations. We're still waiting to see who they will select. So it's going to be an interesting few weeks, and I'm sure there's lots going on behind the scenes. Working with Cycling Canada, I'm already seeing it. There are, complaints put up and decisions being questioned, and it's going to be the same in the triathlon world. And yeah, there's a bit of drama on that side as well, with people contesting race starts and results and everything there. And I'm sure we'll be hearing some more fun stories over the next little while.
What are we going to do without all this drama for 2 years?
Get back into it. Oh man, no. See, the drama will come when all the Olympic athletes come to T100, start smashing. Although we've heard that time and time and time again.
Yep.
And there's really only a select few that really make a bang in the long distance and middle distance triathlon post Olympic.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what that rookie class can do this year, and obviously there's people like Christian and who have way more seasoning in the 70.3 world, but there's the Haydens and the Martin Vinreals that everyone's just waiting to see get unleashed into the middle and long distance world. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, we'll talk more Olympics when we get all the final results in there. Actually, a good place to check out another podcast, Pro Tri News. They've been really good with posting Olympic selections as those get picked. So if you want to, go check them out. They've got a bunch of those up there now. Not a lot of surprises there with a lot of the federations so far. We're really just waiting for the big ones.
Well, speaking of Pro Tri News, that's a good reminder of one of the races we didn't talk about because there was no pro field, but 70.3 Hanu over in Kona, where PT owned Talbot Cox racing against the former head of Ironman, Andrew Messick, and they had a shortened swim, which I think they were pretty happy about, and crazy 25, 30 mile an hour winds, and on the bike going out into the energy lab, it was like nuts on the bike. So apparently they both came in the T2 around the same time, and Talbot ran with Andrew for a little while, and then he just kind of took off. But pretty cool publicity for the event, and cool for the two of them. Sounds like Talbot had a little snafu with trying to pack his bike at the last minute and ended up having to bring Lionel's bike, Lionel's helmet, because they were the only ones he could fit in his bike case. So he's literally wearing Lionel's Whoop helmet.
Jeez. I think one time there was a race where they did like a promo picture on it, and it was actually Talbot in all of Lionel's kit on his bike and stuff. Whoever was posting it didn't realize that. Cool. Man. No,
that's a cool race and a cool course too. I had a couple friends, and we had a bunch of athletes over there that did well as well. But just, man, it looked like a rough day for a lot of people in that wind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking social media, Pro Tri News, let's jump into your social media of the week, post of the week. What did you see out there?
Well, we talked about it earlier with this is now the second race that Kat has not been able to finish. The first one in Miami where she had the calf tear, and then thankfully she was able to get through Texas shortly thereafter, after rehabbing a little bit. This one for DQ, and in Miami we saw her at the finish line right there as Indy Lee finished and cheering her on, and their training partners. And really cool to see. I mean, after a tough day like that, that's not what every pro's doing. That's not what every age grouper's doing. They're not sitting there waiting for their friends at the finish line and their competitors. And there she was again, DQ'd. And she gets back out there with Mark cheering on the other pro racers throughout the entire run. And she just had another awful day and a big day on her calendar that went wrong. And it's just cool to see, because we talk about how awesome this community is all the time. And when it gets to the pros, I think that's the next level that separates it. And I talk about it all the time. But to see that, it speaks a lot to her character, and for her to get back out there and cheer on her teammates. And on top of that, maybe it got her some good karma, because she's like, hey, Mark, I'm DQ'd, and met him on the course. he immediately calls the PTO, is like, hey, do you have a spot in San Francisco for Kat? And next thing you know, they're on flights and heading to San Francisco, and she's racing in T100 this weekend.
I mean, you're fit, you're tapered, may as well go out.
She had a little bit of a good training day. That was about it, instead of doing a full 140.
Yeah. That is awesome. No, it's good to see. It'll be fun to see her out there and what she can do against that field, because that field is stacked, and we'll definitely get more into that in a little bit here.
Yeah, so she's got a post up now talking about that whole interaction about getting to the T100, and there's probably some stuff on her page about just talking about the DQ disappointment and how she's handling it. So kudos to Kat, and good luck in San Francisco, because she's definitely ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that brings us to our What the F moment of the week. And you know what? It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. But my What the F is just Lionel Sanders in general. So he did a really great, actually, series with his injury. He went over to Germany to do some wind testing in the tunnel. And it's something that it sounds like he's been putting off for a long time, just with the international travel and all of that stuff. So he finally got down there to do some testing with Canyon and at the wind tunnel. And there are a few notable things in there. First off, now that I've been getting more into CDA and everything, his starting CDA was shockingly bad. Like, for a pro triathlete, it was...
All I could think of was you on that, when I was like, wait, holy crap, Jenna's is like way better. And I know we've talked these numbers before, and I thought his was better too. But then it was like, whoa, that's his baseline? That's like his oceanside position?
It was so bad. So it's shocking that he's had the results he's had with that rough of CDA, because like none of the other, like I'd be surprised to see if there's any other top pros around that number. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was around like 2-3 kind of thing. Like it was bad. So the interesting thing though was he did a lot of testing, and unfortunately, fortunate for him, is he didn't see a big difference when he went up and down in stack and forward and back in reach. So he was able to find a position that was he was able to be very powerful in it, because he didn't have to go super low. Unfortunately, I found the exact opposite, significantly faster, lower. But it was kind of cool, because he's at a place right now where he's not locked into a ton of sponsors. So he was able to test out a bunch of different helmets, a bunch of different tri-suits, although he didn't test a mono tri-suit, but he was able to dial things in, which was very cool. But that led to a couple other what the Fs throughout the videos, if you watch the series in there. First off, shaving his legs. So apparently he's...
And what, right?
And so, so that's exactly it. He saw a drop in his CDA of the equivalent of about 10, 11 watts in there just from shaving his legs. And he apparently stopped shaving his legs in races a while ago because he thought it was bullshit. And that brought him down into like a respectable range when he shaved his legs. And this is not the first time we've learned this either. There was that kind of famous article by Jesse Thomas with the Specialized team years ago. And he was a hairy guy, and he saw the same thing, like 11 watts just by shaving your legs. That is absolutely massive. The amount of training you have to put in and tweaking a position, all that for 10 watts, it's significant. Or just buy a pink razor and you'd be good to go.
I mean, it is an easy thing to do. It's to me, it's just been natural to do it before race day. Mm-hmm. And then let it grow, and then go back and do it before race day. But it's like, why not, right? And for me, I'm not getting 10 watts. I'm not going that fast. But when you're going and averaging 26, 27, 28 miles an hour, it's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was really crazy because they tried a lot of things, and there weren't any drastic jumps in anything. But they definitely kind of whittled it down by the end and got that number lower and lower. So it'll be exciting to see if he's able to stick with those positions, if he sees a massive difference on race day. Although some of the testing in there with one of the aero bottle setups, they said it was faster at like 0 degree yaw, but it'd probably be a net loss in crosswinds. And I'm like, okay, this is for a race in Kona. When is there 0 yaw in Kona? So yeah, really interesting. But then that brings us to the last what the F of this series. So there were some eagle-eyed viewers will say in the closing shot of the last video in there, they're getting one of those shots that look really cool with the where you can visually see the air and how it moves over his position with some like fog smoke dealy. And the guy holding the wand was Jan Frodeno. So there have definitely been some musings and questions and rumors about Jan Frodeno coaching Lionel Sanders, which I think if there's one person that he might listen to, it might be Jan Frodeno. He's idolized this guy forever, but I'd be really, really curious to see what that relationship is, if it is a full-on coach, if it is an advisor, what's happening there.
Well, I mean, that might be a reason for some of that swim volume going into Oceanside.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it made a difference for sure.
Talk to the goat and the man who knows how to swim, for sure. It was. It sounds like he's definitely, if not the coach of Lionel Sanders, he's definitely a very large trusted advisor, and somehow Jan's finding the time to do that between all the other stuff he's doing, traveling the world, and his vacation of racing gravel, crazy races, and climbing mountains, and doing T100 announcing, which he's done a great job of as well. So it was a really cool little catch by a lot of people. But yeah, it's out there now, and kudos to Lionel, because we all know that he chose to go after Kona this year, and that's what he hasn't had a chance to win yet. So.
And when he finds someone and sticks to it, like he had great results when he was working with David Tilbury Davis, and he just needs to pick a lane and stick to it. Like, it just be so good. So hopefully Jan can help him get there, because he's got so much talent and just raw strength. So definitely in the position, getting some of that swim volume, getting some advice from Jan Frodeno, it would be very cool to see what he can pull off in Kona in there, and definitely makes me excited to see. Actually, speaking of Jan, I'm going to, in San Francisco, they're having a fundraiser for Challenge Athletes Foundation. So it'll be an evening with Jan Frodeno and Alistair Brownlee and Ashley Gentle. So it'd be kind of cool to hear some of their thoughts going ahead of the T100 in San Francisco.
That actually, I mean, that reminds me of something else that we should probably talk about too, and say hi to Bob when you see him at the event in San Francisco. He's great. Well, I had just had this conversation with my coach over the weekend, and Bob just dropped a YouTube about it. And I don't know if you heard, Dave Scott's having heart surgery, and it's the number of these elite Ironman distance racers that have had heart conditions later on in their lives, or even in the middle of their careers. So just a very alarming type thing, but wondering what the research will tell us when you're talking about these guys who have pushed themselves for so long and done well while doing it. What is causing it? What is creating it? I mean, how much research is being done on CT in the NFL, but what is it? What is the impact on endurance sports? And is it the way they used to fuel, or lack of fueling? And is that something that this new age of overfueling and carb loading and things like that, is that going to help the future of your heart conditions and longevity? So maybe that is something. That was the kind of my take from it originally, was maybe that is the tipping point that has maybe helped the future of the sport.
Yeah, and it's funny because we are such a young sport. There's not many people have gotten to those ages that were hardcore into triathlon, putting those training hours on that kind of fueling.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people to look at for that yet, because it is such a new sport. But yeah, I'd be curious to see, and cycling would be another avenue to kind of look into and see if it's something that they're seeing a lot of there, or if it's more kind of athlete specific.
And like you said, they were really underfueled. I mean, and even
heard of just crazy sleeping pills so they don't have to eat after a long bike ride, just so they can get down to racing weight. It's God. Yeah.
Christian talked about it in class on Sunday. He's just if I knew, if I just ate, if I knew that I needed to eat more, what my career could have been, or what, I mean, in all of us. He's look, they went across the whole field. He's I've gained weight now, but my goal is to be able to pick up the phone when somebody calls me and go do something the next day, and not have to worry about recovering from a 4-hour ride or 5-hour ride because I fueled enough the day before. And what a huge difference that is.
No, absolutely. Well, we have been talking around it a little bit, but we have the T100 coming up this weekend in San Francisco. And I think this might be the most stacked race they've had.
I think we're going to say that every time the T100 pops up.
I mean, the last couple were okay, but there's a lot of wild cards. And going forward, you're right, though, because we're getting to the point where people have to race. We're going to get the big athletes coming in here soon. And it is going to be absolutely insane over the next little while. So so it's going to be down in San Francisco. They're going to do, I believe, the Alcatraz swim. And then it's going to be a little bit different course than Escape from Alcatraz because that has slightly different distances. But they're going to be doing it on the Saturday before the race. And oh my goodness, it is going to be absolutely insane. I was going to pull up the start list here. I thought I had it.
And we already did a little bit, and Jenna's going to post it on the Another Triathlon podcast Instagram page, but we all did our own little daily tri fantasy picks and all that too. So keep your eyes out for which winners in top 5 we're going with. And we'll talk about it here a little bit too, but we'll get all 3 of ours out there for everyone to take a look at and let us know who you're going with.
It'll be so good to see. So yeah, we'll give a little shout out on the ones that we picked in here. We had some different picks all across the board. I think Josh is always kind of going for a little bit more of those wild card picks, which makes it interesting. I love it.
I was excited about an interview I heard, and then I felt like my woman's pick was not so much a wild card. I think she's ready to go.
Oh, it'll be so good to see.
So we've got Sam Long, Magnus Ditliff, Aaron Royal, Peter Hemrick, Matthias Margier, Jason West, David McNamee, Rudy Von Berg, Kyle Smith, Alistair, Menno Koolhaas, Mika Newt, Fred Funk, Bradley Weiss, Rigo Bogan, Ben Canute, former champ, Clement Mignon, Jackson Laundry as a wild card, Martin Van Riel before the Olympics, and Javi Gomez for the first time this year.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see how Javier goes. Like, it'd be so cool to see him right back at the top of it and just giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that's a packed field with people who have done the original Escape from Alcatraz and familiar with the course. And it is a little bit more of a punchy technical bike ride than we're used to on this T100 tour. So I think some of us believe in Sam Long and his abilities to ride that, and some of us said, hey, and this is the power to weight and the technical riding and how much you can climb and get going through. So it could be a huge different dynamic that we'll have to see. But at the same time, it's hard to root against Sam on the bike, no matter what course he's on.
I'm so excited with this one because it is technical, because there is elevation. We're not going to see what we saw in Singapore with red lights across the board and drafting in there. Like, I hope T100 is actually going to start to do penalties because they have not given out a single penalty ever. And especially when you have it on screen with Race Ranger, just blatantly that they're in the draft zone. Hopefully we will see less of that here. And I think the course will just provide opportunities between the swim, might break people up with the nature of that swim, and then the bike really making it interesting in there. I'd love to see something different. And it's just totally different conditions with the cool weather opposed to the crazy heat we've had the last few editions. This can mix up what we see for an end result for sure.
So isn't it, I'm pretty sure I saw that they're now required to wear like booties and thermal and gloves and all this stuff for this race because of the World Triathlon limitations and weather conditions. So I think that's the way it was trending. And I've definitely seen some of them training, like Fred Funk, like training, getting ready for that, which would be really interesting. But at the same time, does that help Sam, or does the nature of this swim being so difficult on any given day? I mean, we saw Dubrick had over a minute out of the water last year, and that's not, I mean, that could be a big difference maker, but do they stay together? And because it is a wetsuit swim, does that help Sam close the gap a little bit And that's why it's like, again, it's hard to root him out on the bike if he can stay close on the swim. But who knows? I mean, you could get the wrong line and and waste another minute and a half, 2 minutes in the water that you didn't expect it to be. So
yeah, I think Sam's going to be at more at a disadvantage with this kind of swim course, just especially if the waters are rough in there.
yeah.
That's going to make things interesting and make it harder to stick together, even with that wetsuit advantage. And I guess it's really a matter how much time they can get on, but especially with such a strong field, with some like incredible swimmers. We've got a few traditionally Olympic distance athletes that are really good swimmers. You got to think they're just going to go hard from the front because they know what Sam Long can do now. There's no doubting it because he's done it time and time again. So it's in their best interest to take that swim out hard and fast, drop them, and give themselves more of a buffer. So I'd love to see like a crazy fast swim in there and really make it down to the absolute wire, whether Sam catches up or not going into the race.
Well, the cool part is you are going to see that. You're going to be there.
Yes.
You're not racing. You're just there to watch. I mean, like, it doesn't get any better than that.
That's the best kind of race weekend. I'm not racing. I'm just going to go watch and cheer and be happy I'm not suffering in there. You got to think, because they got, so look at the names in here. We have, who's I looking here? So we got like Aaron Royals, killer swimmer in there. You know, Javier, he's always been, like, he's got that Olympic background. He should be pretty fast. Ben Canute's always good in the water. Martin Van Riel can take out that swim bike hard. So it'll be really interesting. Alistair's always at the front, too. So, yeah, I would love to see a fast swim and they just go hard on that bike and kind of start to separate out a little bit more. That'll really put Sam under pressure and then see what he can do from there. But gotta respect that guy's ability to just not give up even when it's like a massive deficit out of the swim.
And that's the story the T100 is going to start telling and sticking to, because they're like, there's no way the normal sports fan be like, this guy's not winning. He's like way behind. And like, there's not enough time. And boom, here he goes.
And that's where we need those stories. Those like more cameras at the back kind of showing that. And yeah, I can't see like a Jason West running through that with that kind of elevation on the bike. That's really going to hurt him, you'd assume. And I'm really curious to see how Martin Van Riel goes. Like, he is obviously fit and ready to go for the Olympics and kind of fire there, but that guy just
70.3.
Yeah, totally. And even like he just goes hard and sees what happens. Like sometimes he blows, sometimes he crushes it at the Olympic distance, and 70.3s, he's been awesome. But again, he hasn't been up against a field like this. So it'll be really good to see.
Well, like Jenna was talking about too, my pick is probably a little off out in left field on the men's side of this race. But we didn't talk about his swim ability, but Kyle Smith is a heck of a swimmer and has had a recent result where he won Ironman, New Zealand, right? So I think he's ready to go. I listened to his interview with Jack Kelly, and it sounds like this is a race he feels suits him well. And I'm going to stick with it and go with the outsider, Kyle Smith, in as the wild card for this one. And I think he's going to take it. I think Sam's going to be right there in second place again. So you'll see the rest of my picks, but those are my top two.
He's going to become the Lucy Charles, just always.
Just the two of them. Lucy's not there to do that this week, but
there we go. Yeah, curious to see how Magnus Dietlev goes. He's just the Terminator. I know he had that issue with that injury, but it sounds like he's been back at it and getting into training again. And then we've got like Alistair Brownlee. He had the issue after Singapore with his ankle there, but it's going to be a cool race. It's going to be near Leeds conditions, like cold and going to likely overcast in there and cold water temperatures. So be curious to see how that goes if he's been able to put in the run time.
It's the first race in the T100 that the guys and the girls are going to be on the course at the same time.
Yeah, that was really interesting to see. I'm like, okay, the one time I'm going to be there to watch it all, sticking it all together, but be curious to see if that affects anything in there, especially with laps, right? Like, what are we going to see on that bike course?
I think there's what, 40, 45 minutes between start times.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think they're letting them go and the guys will be on the run course. So I don't know how it's going to play out. How does it play out coverage wise too? I mean, so
Yeah.
T100 hasn't had to deal with that yet. We know Ironman does all the time, but how does the T100 handle that in their new production schedule and what they're going after for their fan base? So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and honestly, from a getting sports people who aren't triathletes interested in sports perspective, it's probably a better thing to have a shorter coverage
Yeah.
instead of an Ironman. Like it's 8 hours of commentary, and it'll hopefully make it a little bit more interesting and easier for the commentators too. Because like we were talking about last time, they get fatigued, and you start to see the drop in energy as good as they are and stuff. Like that is a long day to be on and talking about triathlon. So there'll be lots of moves and changing around. Hopefully that will keep it interesting. As long as they don't do some silly things like Ironman has done in the past, like missing women's finishes or not going back to them. So
yeah,
I'm sure they will do a good job of that because this women's field is insane. It is going to be so good. So on the women's side, I finally have the athletes pulled up. We've got the queen of the T100 series, Ashley Gentle, Taylor Knibb, Anne Haug, Paula Finley, Laura Phillip, Emma Pallant-Brown, Kat Matthews, India Lee, Chelsea Sodaro, Imogen Simmons, Lucy Byram, Amelia Watkinson, Kaida Kibod, I don't know how to say that one, Laura Madsen, Jocelyn McCauley, Tamara Jewett, Anna Bergston, Grace Beck, Jenny Metzler, and Margie Santamaria. Whew, that top end is crazy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of British athletes. Like British.
There is.
Yeah, I want to see Ashley Gentle and Taylor Knibb. That's, that'll definitely make it interesting. Taylor Knibb has just been on such an incredible tear. Like she is so crazy fit right now that Oceanside performance just was unreal. So I'm really curious to see how she goes up against Ashley Gentle, especially in like cold conditions could make it interesting. We don't know how that's going to affect the athletes. Ashley Gentle is so good in the hot weather. Will that change up when it comes to these cooler temperatures and dealing with that? And then of course, Anne Haug, you can never count her out of anything. And Paula Finley, like this could be super interesting. I'm curious to see how India Lee goes again as well. Like having that first race in the series and winning it, it'd be cool to see if she can back it up here.
Yeah, I think she's also feels like she's back to where she belongs. Coming out of Miami, she got sick, and Singapore was just a mess because of that training going into there and a whole bunch of different reasons. So we all saw how she handled her return to challenge and winning there. So I think she's back and fit. We'll see how that goes. It's just, again, it's that course and how do they handle it? And Ashley's been there. She's been out in San Francisco, ready to go. So hard to pick against her. But at the same time, I also feel like she's got a race under her belt, and we've got Annie showing up for the first time to a T100, and I just feel like she's ready to go. And that's my pick on the women's side this week. And I think she's got the ability to climb and do the technical riding as well. So if she can get up on the bike and have a really good bike, we all know how she can run. And then it becomes, is it a run between her and Ash? And wow, that would be really cool to see. And where's Taylor? How does Taylor handle the bike? And it's tough. I mean, it's a heck of a field. And I also feel like, and this is my number 2 finisher was Tamara Jewett. Like she's had a tough season.
We really haven't seen her so far this season. Yeah.
She's had a tough season. So it'll be really interesting to see if she can be a factor on the run. Because again, I mean, look at the runners in this field. My top 3 are runners.
Yeah.
And if they can survive the bike course, it's going to be a heck of a finish, I think.
Yeah, and I think because of that bike course, you definitely got to keep an eye on Paula Finley. Like she loves St. George for a reason. She's good at those hilly bike rides, and obviously she's got the power to put out there. But I picked Ashley Gentle for top spot to be different than Fede. Taylor Knibb, she is on such a tear right now. It is really hard to bet against her. Like the time she's been putting in have been absolutely insane, and then backing it up at Olympic distance too. So really curious. So actually we'll pull up our picks for all of us. We actually did the the Daily Tri Fantasy picks in here. So we got them locked in this time.
And we got them saved, and we know exactly who we went with.
Yeah, exactly. So from Fede, his top 3 are Martin Van Riel, Jason West, and Alistair Brownlee on the men's side. And then Taylor Knibb, Ashley Gentle, and Annie Haug on the women's side. And then for myself, it was Magnus Dietlev, Sam Long, and Martin Van Riel on the men's. And on the women's, Ashley Gentle, Taylor Knibb, and Paula Finley. And then we got Josh with Kyle Smith taking the win. Sam Long in second. I really just, Sam Long's just second.
I might as well just put him right there. It was almost my hot shot pick too, Sam Long in second.
I was thinking about it afterwards, and I should have put Sam Long as the hot shot because, yeah, odds are. And Jackson Laundrie in third. On the women's side, we've got Anne Haug, Tamara Jewett, and Ashley Gentle. Big call, Tamara Jewett ahead of Ashley Gentle in there. So that would be very cool to see.
Yeah, it would be cool to see. And I actually locked in Annie at first place on my hot shot too.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, I think I locked in Dietlev, and Fede didn't pick anyone. So there we go. Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited to go down there and actually see this go down in person. It's going to be such a good race, and hopefully can find a good spot to see what's happening in the moment in there, and probably will have the race pulled up on my phone at the same time too to get all the commentary and insights. I'll try to post up some videos and shots and stuff and play on-course reporter.
The biggest challenge for you is going to be keeping your phone charged.
Oh, man. Good call. Remind me to bring the charging bank.
Yeah.
No, so looking forward to geeking out all around. And I'll be down there talking with a few athletes with this Ghibli Aero sensor to see if we can get a few of these pro athletes even faster, get their aerodynamics dialed in.
You can talk to Jackson, that's for sure.
Yeah, he has one. He did some testing with it. Yep. He did a good review video testing it out. So lots more testing to dial it in. I was so bummed he had a mechanical after the first race when he made some adjustments for it, but it'd be good to see what he does there. Other than that, we have another Ironman Pro Series with Ironman Boulder coming up next weekend as well. And actually, before we do that, we'll do an updated T100 ranking series. At the moment, we have... for the women's side, we'll go top 5 for now. We've got Lucy Charles Barclay in first, Ashley Gentle in second, India Lee in third, Lucy Byram in fourth, and Haley Chura in fifth. That one is super interesting. She's just been like super consistent. And that is the cool thing to see with these series, like just putting in the time, getting decent results consistently can really bump you up that ranking quite a bit. And then on the men's side, we've got Yuri Kulin in first, who unfortunately won't be at this race, so he's going to lose out on that top ranking. Sam Long in second, as we do. And Magnus Dietlev in third, Aaron Royal in fourth, and Matthias Margier in fifth. So definitely, like, it's... these next few races are really going to switch things up in these rankings in quite a few ways, I think. The cream was definitely going to rise to the top, but for now it's been nice that it hasn't been complete blowouts with the wild cards, with changing up the race courses and locations. I think we're going to see a few different results this weekend.
Yeah, and Sam's going right to Ironman Cairns too afterwards with his crazy schedule yet again.
Unreal.
Gotta get his Kona slot.
Man, gotta get all the slots everywhere.
And we talked about this early on. It's like, T100, and that's what they're going to stick to. And now you're getting all these T100 athletes also doing Ironman Pro Series and finding ways to fit them in.
I just hope he doesn't do like a Blumenfeld thing where Blumenfeld had like that. He was on a tear for a year, just crushing everything, and then crickets. Yeah, we'll see how it goes in there.
We'll see in Paris.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Ironman 70.3 in Boulder. We'll give a shout out to some of the top names here. This is on the Pro Series ranking. Some of the recognizable names, we got Leslie Smith, Ollie Salthouse, Batya Beard, Aaron Shickles, Jody Stimson. Let's see.
Nicole Falcao is trying to come back from her stingray.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. And Guzman. Yeah, so not the most top-heavy race, we'll say in there, but...
Not on the female side, but there's a good field on the men's side.
Here we go. On the men's side, we got Matt Hansen, Chris Leiferman, Trevor Foley, Thomas Rodriguez Hernandez, which would be really cool to see how he goes. Matt Sharp, Andre Lopez, Colin Such, Sam Appleton, Nicholas Knet, Justin Metzler, Cameron Worth, Jason Pohl. Yeah, you're right. We got all the names out here, so that'll be really good to see. Was just chatting with Jason Pohl the other day. He's working on getting that hip issue worked out, so hopefully he's fit and ready to fire out there. He's overtraining in Boulder at the moment, so we wish him all the best as a local Canadian.
Absolutely. Well, this is another one too. Like, that's a WTF round 2. Like, Tomas is doing Challenge Roth. It's like, you've got a chance to win the Ironman Pro Series, and you're going to go do Roth. Like, how are you going to fit the rest of your schedule in? But Roth is bucket list, and we all know that type of thing. But, totally. It'll be interesting to see coming out of Texas what he does at Boulder. I think he's going to Roth to see if he can set the marathon record.
I'm sure. Yeah,
that run course is so fast, and you'll see him and Patrick Lange going for the all-time marathon off the bike record would be my guess.
That'd be very cool to see. Is Patrick Lange doing Roth?
Yeah.
Ooh, geez, they're going back head to head again. I'll be curious to see how that matchup goes. Because I think he would have surprised Patrick out in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's ready for him this time.
Yeah. See, that's another thing. Why is Patrick Lange doing Roth too? Like, you think he'd be a lock for the Ironman Pro Series, but that means 4 Ironmans.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. I'm not 100% sure. I know Thomas is, but I think I heard Patrick is doing it as well.
Craziness. Well, we have got some epic racing happening over the next little while here. My only hope is that some of these top name pros across all of the distances, especially the Olympic athletes with the Olympics coming up, can stay healthy so that we can see some head-to-head racing in here. That's always kind of the little side worry with so much racing going on, especially with those jumping between the 2 series, but it is definitely keeping things interesting for us as fans of the sport and spectators, and can't wait to see how this all shakes up at the end of the year. They're definitely keeping us guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks like we'll have another possible win for Ellie Saltos, which will be interesting. I mean, she's had a pretty good season, and I'll probably go with Ellie in Boulder. And man, I don't know who I would go with on the men's side. It's stacked. I think that bike course is tough.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with another outsider, Matt Sharp. He loves Boulder. He's from Boulder. He's raced well there before, so I'll go with Sharp.
No, fair enough. Let's see here. Can Cam Worth win a 70.3 with all of the racing he's doing everywhere?
There's a lot of full distance Ironmans in this race too. That's the other thing. Sam Appleton, Tomas.
I'm going to go Leslie Smith, the women's side here. See if she can pull it out. You know what? I'm going to pick who Fede would probably pick in here with Tomas Rodriguez Hernandez. I want to see how he goes over this course. I mean, it's a tough bike, but man, that run is just something else.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wicked. Well, that wraps us up for this episode. Check in. We are going to have our 50th episode is going to be a little bit of a bonus, an extra one this week. We've got an awesome guest on there, and you'll just have to tune in to find out who it is. So stay tuned, and thank you for a year of listening to us geek out on triathlon all around, and we can't wait for the episodes to come. But for now, have a great night, Josh, and we'll be back to chat soon.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Have a good one, everyone.